So for those who wanted a little bit closer look at the garden, with a little more time taken, and I'll just sort of name a few of the plants, especially the roses. This gigantic rose is called Excellence von Schubert, and you can see that it's just covered in blooms, and there's about almost uniformly 20 buds per cluster. And so over the years I've estimated I had 2,000 little individual roses on this one bush, and it's even bigger this year, so who knows. I did a lot of propagation from seed this year, and so I did a lot of zinnias, and I did some cleomes, you can see here, right there, and then you can see there are cleomes here, and then all back in there as well. They've popped up. And then this is primarily a cottage garden, but also a butterfly garden. So I have things like rue, and there's some fennel down in there for various, they're hosts for butterflies. Beautiful coneflower called pretty parasols that it seems to be really white in the spring, but in the fall this had a tinge of pink about halfway up, and that was really beautiful. And I've interplanted it. I grew from seed some little Echinacea pallida, and we'll see what happens. They'll be very similar. And then I've just planted radishes. I think radish flowers are beautiful, so I just planted some radishes out here just for fun. And this wonderful pink is agastache. I think it's called, oh, no, I've forgotten. It'll come to me. And then actually I've got a few, these are just carrots, just for fun, popping up. I planted them in the fall, just literally stuck a carrot in the ground. And then this is a huge, it's supposed to be a dwarf buddleia, that's a really beautiful lavender. And then my tiny, tiny patch of vegetables, it's just jalapenos. I'm here in Texas, and I need jalapenos for cooking. And then speaking of Texas, this is the Texas state flower, the bluebonnet, which is just a tiny little lupin. It just lasts for a couple of weeks, and that's it. And then again for butterflies, I have a huge, this is just parsley for swallowtail butterflies to host on. It's going to seed. I planted it, in November or so, and I'm just letting it go to see what happens. I think it'll have pretty yellow flowers. We've got more coneflower and more fennel for butterflies. And then we have our pretty little fountain surrounded by, this is Salvia black and blue, and it's just starting to put out some little flower spikes right in there. So in another week or two, it'll be covered in flowers. And you'll see those bluebonnets as a theme all the way around the garden. This rose is called Almost Wild. And then a lot of salvias and verbenas here. And some little poppies from seed. They're all sort of closed up for the evening. Lots and lots of bluebonnets. And then this little tiny yellow flower is threadleaf coreopsis, and the variety is called Moonbeam. You can probably see the theme of the garden. I have a color scheme which is pink, blue, purple, and white. And if you're pale yellow, you're allowed in, but only grudgingly. This rose, not blooming very well right now, it's already had a big flush. This is Souvenir de Sainte Anne. And then we've got a Gulf muley grass. Texas is right on the Gulf Coast. This is a tiny little rose bush called 290 Pink Buttons. There is a Highway 290 outside of Houston, and this was a found rose out on 290. And actually, this is a giant rose back here. It's getting ready to bloom in the next week or two, called Caldwell Pink. It was a found rose found in a little town called Caldwell, Texas. I've got a, gosh, what is this called? Well, this is a salvia called Big Blue, even though it's purple, and it should be about 4 feet tall with big blue spikes. Oh, this is a bee balm here. I've never grown it. It should be called, it's a purple popsicle or something is the name of it. I've never grown it before. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen. Lots and lots of bluebonnets. Another salvia. This is Amy. Oh no, this is a carrot. It's a little bit green and a little bit rounded. Over here, we planted from seed. I planted Amy, which is whiter and a little bit flatter. They're very similar. This has a more ferny leaf than the carrots do. This is my sort of favorite combination of the Verbena bonarensis and the Amy, and then some cosmos back here. And then if you come forward, there's a beautiful little rose. It's just a miniature rose. It doesn't really get much bigger than this, and it's called Rockwall Sesquicentennial. Rockwall Sesquicentennial, and Rockwall, Texas, is a town in central Texas. And then this is my first time growing the Scabiosa, which I will definitely grow forever. It's turned out really beautifully. And then I've got a lot of things popping up. I've got my little supports to try to keep my Salvia leucantha, which is a Mexican bush sage, from flopping over and killing everything close to it. So that's a little new project, is to see how these plant supports go. They're really made for peonies, but it's too hot in Texas to grow peonies. I've forgotten the name of this. This is new to us this year, and it's so cute. I can't remember the name. And we've got agapanthus, which I'm hoping will bloom. And then this is self-seeded all over the yard, and it's called Euphorbia. There's a couple of different varieties. I think this is Diamond Frost. It might be Diamond Snow. I kind of just get whatever they have in the garden store. And then we've got a little Kufia, usually red. This one is pink with a little bit of purple. They're really delicate, and they got really big. Another bee balm. This is a penstemon called Gulf Coast penstemon. Can you see it? It's the first time I've grown it. I think when it gets really hot here in Texas, it will sort of shut down for the summer, but it sure has been beautiful. What else? I think this is Salvia amistad back there. Froze to the ground, just keeps coming back year after year. We've got some fire spike, which will be beautiful in the fall. This is one of the only 2 Texas columbines. It's really too hot to grow a columbine in Texas, but this one is native to somewhere. But Texas takes an entire day to drive across the state, and going 75 miles an hour. So Texas is big. So this may grow 800 miles from me and still be in Texas. So it looks beautiful. I'm going to treat it as an annual and expect that as soon as it gets to be 100 degrees, it's all going to die. So I don't have a lot of high hopes for it coming back. I've got some 4 o'clocks. You can see I'm in late afternoon. They're all coming out for me. And a lot of different things in here. I have a walking iris that 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it's finished. So there aren't any of those left even to show you. And I've got borage, which has been such a favorite. It's all self-seeded out here, and it's such a favorite of bees. It takes, once a bee has had nectar, or a pollinator has had nectar from a flower, it takes a certain amount of time for the flower to fill back up with nectar. And sometimes it can be hours or even a whole day for a single flower to get nectar back. And a borage gets it back in 3 minutes. So it's extremely good for pollinators. We've got caladiums. We've got some pipevine there on the ground. A couple of different kinds for pipevine swallowtail butterflies. There's more of that euphorbia. And then again, we've got some violets, 2 different kinds of violets for another local butterfly to host on. It's my problem shade area that we're just working on. And I've got various and sundry things in here. And in the very back is some mock orange a friend of mine gave me this winter. But we've got Turk's cap and shrimp plant and some more 4 o'clocks here. This big green mat is frog fruit, which is a native Texas plant that is a host plant for butterflies. Got some big irises that had a horrible freeze a year ago and they haven't bloomed since, but they will. They'll come back. And then some more native plants here. This is obedient plant. They'll bloom in the fall, and that's native to Texas. These little things here are pigeonberry. They're super cute. Another pollinator friendly and butterfly host plant. And then this is wine cup, which is another, I'll show you the pretty foliage. It's another Texas native plant, wildflower, which I'm sure it's native to lots of the United States. Crinum lilies here, amaryllis. This is a huge milkweed called hairy balls milkweed because they're the seed balls are huge and very hairy and prickly looking. They're kind of bananas. Here's my first try at a dahlia. I don't really know if they're going to grow in Texas. People swear they do. We'll see. Cleums went crazy. That's from seed. And then I've got the bachelor buttons, which are also from seed. I've never grown them before. And I've got blue boy. And then I think this was called Midnight or something like that. Some roses back here. It's beautiful. Grass. Lots of hodgepodge of things. We can grow delphiniums. I planted this in November in Texas, and it will last until maybe May, and then it'll give up the ghost because it's too hot. And I'll end my rose from an earlier video, sort of out by the end of the week here, called Mrs. B.R. Kent. Here, I'll show you one of the actual buds or actual flowers. It's just beautiful. I counted about 275 roses on this tree last week, this rose bush last week. And then I'll end on amaryllis. These have been passed down for generations, and I have given so many away. They must be all over Texas by now. Thanks for watching. Thanks to you who actually wanted to see more. That's very sweet of you. Have a good Easter holiday, Passover holiday, Ramadan holiday. Take care.